And we are now live. So, welcome to another Green Dragons episode. This is actually going to be a live one because we're not together to do this battle report. On the line right now is myself and Prettyboy.
What's up?
So, again, that's why you'll see the Green Dragon logo for both of us because typically we're the ones who do make the Green Dragons gaming videos. Although Dan, the Terminator Dan, has done one or two. What's Brian's names?
Yeah, I think it's Conway.
Conway. I thought it was missing an A in that. I thought it was Conwy.
Or Conway.
Yeah, Conway, whatever that is. But I know he's made at least one video, which was great because I love that halfling army. Although he's not bringing that, so we'll get to that in just a moment. I'm just going to do one thing. We're going to go ahead and share my screen. Share the entire.
For me, I didn't know that.
Huh?
I said I didn't know that he wasn't bringing his halfling army.
Wow,
That's a spoiler for me.
Oh, wow. Now we're going to hit present to everyone. That's kind of neat looking.
Your screen looks like Inception.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say that's really neat looking. All right. So, do you still see my screen though? Is it now?
I see it now. You're on a blank slide.
All right. So let's go to shit. All right. And play slideshow. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Green Dragons episode. In this case, we're going to be promoting, again, North American Masters. And this is for, it's Canadian, it's American, it's Mexican, it's North America, not just US. And we're really looking forward to this. It's going to be held actually the same place that Dragon's Den was held this year in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania at Gamers Heaven or Haven, whatever it is, up in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. It's Phoenixville, so it's a great small town that's a suburb of Philly. And there actually is a lot of history there, but at the same time, it's really up and coming. It's a lot of
a lot of bars.
Yeah, a lot of bars. Their own microbrews and things like that. Tons of places to stay. It's not far from Oaks, which has convention centers and hotels and things like that. So it is going to be maxed out at 64 players. 32 players will be available to play in Masters, and then everyone else is going to participate in Grail Quest. So no matter what you come, you're going to play in something. Right now it's going to be $60 is what we just voted on. And let's see.
Important note at the store. Some of you already know this for coming to Dragon's Den, but for those of you that didn't, they have the comfiest chairs. Tournament venue ever. Like, I'm not joking. They're all leather, like, chairs.
They're computer chairs. They are office computer chairs. So again, Gamers Heaven is if you go to their website, it's actually gamersheaven.life or something like that because it's like a way of life. It's one of those things. It's not where .com, I guess.
It's not just a game store.
Yeah, and basically they sell time. And they have the computers, and that's they're one of the big draws is computers. Although we've been going there now on Tuesdays, and we're hooking up with a larger group called Basement Wargaming. So I want to give BWG a quick shout, and both of us have our own Facebook pages, BWG and Green Dragons Gaming. But I mean, 64 players, which is going to be 32 tables, I think will fit easily, and they just redesigned how they have their table set up, where now it's going lengthwise. Where they were like, oh, it'll be tight, or we're going. I'm like, you guys are not going to lose anything. What are your thoughts, Ryan?
No, the place is huge. They just expanded. We just had Dragon's Den there, and we had over 40 people.
Yep.
It wasn't like we were taking up the whole store. We had our own section in the store, so there were still a bunch of people like they were not part of the ninth age or anything, doing their thing, and there was no overlap.
Exactly.
So I'm not worried about the space.
No, I'm not. I'm not worried at all. And like I said, we had a blast. We had an absolute blast, and we can easily fit 10 tables because they're going to take some of that computer space, and that's going to become more gaming tables for us.
Yeah, good group of guys that own the store. And it is BYOB.
Yes, and the key word there is BYO beer. If you, they don't want the hard alcohol, but if you do bring a rum or something like that, basically they want to be the ones that if you're going to be drinking rum and Coke, they're supplying you with the Coke. They want to make sure that basically, because if you are drunk and then you drive, they technically are responsible, and that's so you can't get sloshed there. It's not like that's the one issue is it's not a hotel, so it's not like you can turn around, play your game, get sloshy there, and then stumble back to your hotel room.
I thought they do have rooms to rent though.
I don't know. I know they have a shower there that you can use, but that is the one thing. So yes, definitely turn around. You can drink, just be a responsible adult. That's all I can say. But it was a blast there for Dragon's Den, very accommodating, and I think they're going to do the same. I know they're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah,
and that's in January. Now, this weekend coming up, we have the zoo. I believe the zoo is out in California. I want to make sure I give a shout out to that. As a matter of fact, I just approved something because, again, as head of community engagement, I actually have moderator rights. So I just approved someone who's bringing an EOS army and is going to be reporting in the zoo. Just approved that just before this. And then 2 weeks from now is Mountain Mayhem. So you've got a group up in northwest U.S. You got a group here in Mid-Atlantic, outside D.C. area. And that's shaping up to be, it's currently slotted at 35, but I know probably at least 4 more people who are probably going. Like there's an Alex, not the guy with the checkerboard demons. He's already on the list, but there's another Alex who I think is probably going to go, and at least like about 3 others who are going to be signing up. But thing is midnight tonight is when lists are due, payments are due.
Let's get an update on that. Real quick, Ryan, why don't you go look at those lists already on it?
Ryan, go please. Why don't you go ahead and look at the list, or do you want me to pull it up on my computer right now?
I've already got it.
Okay, my apologies.
No, I'm all over this.
So who's all who is all going to be attending?
You want me to do a quick rundown of the people going?
Yeah, just give a quick shout to say, tell you what, tell us who the clubs are who are being represented. Let's make life easy.
There you go. So obviously CGL, which is the home club. That's Gene Phelps, Mr. Wargaming from the Balconies group. We got a few Green Dragons going. So strong presence there. We have a couple Juice Crew members going. Shannon representing Devastating Charge.
There might be a couple more from Devastating Charge coming up.
I hope so. But right now he's the one guy. Big showing so far from the East Coast Warriors. Really like that this group is starting to get involved in the tournament scene. They're a good group of guys. And then there's one guy from Titans, hoping to see more people from Titans show up since it's near them. One club I haven't heard of called Foul. I don't know what that.
Whose name?
Jake DiBattista.
You know what? I saw that. I have no idea who he is either. Neither did Shannon, because I was on the phone with Shannon earlier today.
We got a ghost coming. Gonna take everyone down. And then Pete Reese is representing the Texas Free Company.
That's right. The southern states are going to be represented this time.
There we go. And we got about half the lists in for early submission as of now.
So here's the thing with early submission. I think it's an extra 5 points or 3 points per.
It's an extra 5
per, right? So total 10 points. 5 points for a payment, 5 points for army list submission.
Oh, yes, you are correct.
All right. And I like that because when I TO'd, it made my life easier. I got started on things a little bit earlier. And then if you change it, hey, guess what? You're losing 5 points. But it's not that you're losing the 5 points, you're not gaining the 5 points. So it's, are you taking it as a negative, or it was a reward for actually being early? And that's the thing, is it's a reward.
Yeah, I like that system too.
Yeah. And then if you change it after, I want to say this weekend or next weekend,
it's -5 after the 10th.
-5 after the 10th. So that's next Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you change it after that, then it's a negative, which is exactly what I did for Dragon's Den too.
Yeah, which honestly, it's only a week difference. So maybe there should be a couple people that like might have to get it in, you know, after the 3rd because they just didn't quite have enough time. But most people, I think you could probably get it in for the early submission for the bonus 5 points. But
yeah. And speaking for myself, I mean, it was really, really hard to decide what I'm bringing to that, whether I was going to be my Dwarven Holds and I was painting up my Dwarven Holds, or am I bringing in my Equitane, or considering, actually, you know, that Ogre army in my basement that was Dave's?
Mm-hmm.
That's now mine, officially.
You were never considering ogres.
I wasn't. No. It actually did cross my mind, and then I said no, just flat out no.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Mark, to Mark's point, because we both took some time to figure out what we wanted to bring. We've been beating each other up like every other day, trying to figure out what army and what list we want to bring to this. So.
Yep. And well, considering what time is it right now? Anyway, I have no idea.
11:24.
11:24. So for those of us who care, oh, there's, I was looking for it. You have a half hour to tailor your list to what we're bringing. Ryan, do you mind saying what you're bringing?
Yeah, this is probably too late to say it now, but I'm like questioning if we should do this video. I don't want to, you know, reveal my list and
I'm not putting your list up, just which army you're bringing.
All my strategery. You know?
Well, I'm not saying what's in your list, and if they want to sit there and say, "Oh, well, Stottle's bringing this," I'm not going to say what's on your critters. I'm not going to say what's on in your units or anything.
Oh, I'm joking. Nobody cares.
You know what? So we'll get to something in a moment. So Ryan's going. Can I say what race you're bringing?
I'll allow it.
All right, so thank you. Ryan's bringing his VC list, and that was actually between, he had a OgreCon list, he had a Dread Elf list, and VC list, and we've been play testing a variety of them. And I was pretty much I was actually almost all set to go Dwarven Holds.
Yeah, you had all your chips in for one particular list you're having fun with.
Yeah, I was, and the issue is that I kept coming across the hard counter, and I kept coming across it repeatedly.
I was the hard counter.
Oh, I lost a couple on UB too, against other people. And the more and more, I'm just like, you know, it's I just wasn't feeling it. It just wasn't. It's if you knew how to deal with its gimmick, if you knew how to just deal with the blocks themselves, and it just wasn't working. And basically, everything resided in one model. If my Dragon Seeker had a good game, I had the game.
Yep.
If my Dragon Seeker had a horrible game, I lost.
Yeah, I think dwarves do better when they have a balanced list where they have magic, shooting, and combat.
Yeah, and this was not that. This was much more combat oriented.
Yep.
And no, I mean, it was a good list. It's a fun list, and I'll keep playing it, and I'll keep tweaking it. So I hope to be able to bring Dwarven Holds back here shortly. I just didn't feel I was going to have enough time.
Yeah.
To be oriented enough for a tournament and do well. And the reason why I personally want to do well is I want one of these coveted invites to North American Masters. Because if I don't get the invite to North American Masters, then on that Friday there's a qualifying event. So it's the weekend of January 20th. That Friday is a qualifying event that's going to start at 10 a.m. I believe. And from 10 a.m. to whenever the game ends, it's 3 games. The top 8 are going to qualify to participate in the Masters. So the Masters is capped at 32, but do have that qualifying event. And then after that, then it's either going to be part of Grail Quest, which is going to be 4,500 points. I have talked to Phil. He's writing the rule pack for it now. Or you're going to be in U.S. Masters. And the whole thing will be run by the Masters, TOs and everything else, but the rules pack for Grail Quest, it will be set up by Phil. It's nothing like what Ben Tweed has done. And I did have fun with Ben Tweed stuff in the past, being with Grail Quest, but it's not going to be as different. I'll say it like that, because Ben Tweed allowed, like, I think there was a Dragon Seeker allowed on Carnifexes and things like that, and then you had different scenarios per and then you had different scoring for each and everything else. So nothing quite like that. So pretty much more with the standardized rules, but with some subtleties, like maybe everyone takes a giant or stuff like that. But Phil's making the everything there, and that should be a lot of fun. And that is also going to be a qualifying event for then Masters 2020.
I'm fully confident that Phil will do a really good job and make it a very fun event without making it too complicated.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. And then after that, so this is October.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Before you move on, I had a quick question actually about Masters, and maybe other people would have the same question. So I like the whole mechanic about the Friday before, like it's the last chance for people to qualify for the Masters. If you've already been invited to the Masters, could you still play in the Friday tournament just like to have fun before the rest of the weekend?
I'm going to say that is being discussed, but as of now, I'm going to say probably yes. But it is still being discussed by the committee.
Okay. And just if you place, obviously, it just wouldn't affect.
It still goes to the top 8. So let's say, Ryan, let's say you have an invite already, and you're part of that top 8. It then and let's say you're number 8. It then goes to number 9.
Right. That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm just making sure clarification.
Yep.
But it is still being discussed, and the reason why is now. Let's say you turn around, you play one of your buddies, and I know you personally wouldn't do this. However, it has been commented about possibly a few others. It's like, hey, I already have my invite. You take a 20.
That's true. I mean, there is the opportunity for that type of abuse. Am I worried that that's going to happen? Probably not.
And that makes 2 of us, but it is a legit concern because we already did have people say, hey, I've won 2 events, so I have 2 invites. Can I drop this event so this specific person can take it and I'll take this event? And the thing is if you turn down an invite, guess what? You're not playing a Masters.
Yep.
All right. But the invites are all going out at once at the end of the year. So it's not like you can turn around and that's to prevent someone saying, well, I've got the war score, but I also won a GT. So tell you what, you were second in GT, but you don't have enough points for war score. So I'll decline that one and take my war score invite. It's not going to work that way. You first comes GTs, you turn that down, you will then be overlooked for the invite as well.
Yep, it sounds like a good system you guys have nailed down. So I just have that question, so you can move on. I'm not sure where you were heading next.
So again, Colonial Carnage is going to be the next thing, but I was trying to think as to what's going on I don't think there's any tournament in December. Arizona, let's give a quick shout out to Skaven and AZ. He's got a tournament going on out there.
Arizona Undivided.
Yep, and I think that's November 10th.
You are correct.
All right, it's the weekend of November 10th. I'm going to try to make it. The issue is I think it's a weekend I have with my oldest daughter. So I'm actually looking that up right now. And the answer is yes. And I, unfortunately, because of her dance and a bunch of other stuff, with my wife's divide and conquer that we have to do, because of that, we probably will not be going as much as I would love to go. And because I was really, really going to try to go. But that's going to be a qualifying GT as well.
Which is good. The West Coast needs a couple of those. So
yeah. They've got the zoo up north. They've got that one down there. And I think they're pulling from LA as well. So really, really happy about seeing these tournaments pop up. So again, the whole point of North American Masters is we want to help promote Ninth Age. We want to help promote our communities. We want to grow our communities. And it was funny. I just walked into a hobby store this last week, or what's today? Wednesday. I walked into it yesterday, and the hobby guy, and this is one of the old train stores where you can turn around and get basically whatever you need for hobbying. And he's like, "Yeah, most of my clients are like 60 years old and older." And I'm like, you know what? I'm making sure that I'm sitting down. I bought one of those little planes for my kids that wind up with a rubber band that you have to put together, the little balsa wood planes with the. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I'll take that as a yes.
I said yep.
Okay, that will actually fly. So I'm going to sit there. I want to be doing that with my kids because it's like, do you sit down with a video game or are you sitting down with an actual hobby? And that, to me, this is an actual hobby. It's not just playing the game. It's the painting. It's the modeling. It's everything that goes involved. And to me, it's a load of fun. So then you got Masters. After Masters, Colonial Carnage about 3-4 weeks later in Williamsburg, Virginia. It's a 4-man tournament that's going on. And if you haven't been to a tournament-style gaming event, it's a blast. I had such a good time this last year. Ryan keeps trying to get me to be team captain, and I turned it down last year. I don't want it. So Ryan's now stuck with it once again.
Aha! Good luck to everybody else.
Exactly. Hey, we were picked for 7th last year.
That's true. I did lead our team to 4th place.
Yes. Yeah, we were picked dead last by Phil Blake, and I'm trying to remember who else picked us for dead last. But basically, the powers to be didn't like what we were bringing. And we were close to 3rd. We were real close to 3rd.
Almost.
Huh?
I said almost had it.
Yeah, almost. I blame Gene. But let's see. And if you can go there, that's all I can say is go. So we'll hopefully actually have 2 teams this year, where we had 1 team last year. We're trying to get ourselves up and organized. We're actually trying to see, because we've had a lot of interest from people that are from the Basement Wargaming group who would like to come down with us as well. And so hopefully we'll have two, and if we can get enough BWG guys, maybe even 3. If we can get them all taught the game and models and things like that, which I don't think models will be an issue. And that's all that I know of between here and there. I don't know anything, unfortunately, about the Midwest. Do you, Ryan?
So if we're just going by tournament schedule, so we did Mountain Mayhem, which is upcoming, Infernal Zoo. Then we have the November one, which is Arizona. I believe so. Yeah, Masters, Grail Quest, Colonial Carnage. In March is Corner Hammer.
Out in Chicago, yep.
Yep, up in Chicago. Which is a tremendous event. It's a bit far for us, but we went last year. It was huge. 64 people went. Lenny and Jeremy Galchok ran it, did a fantastic job. A lot of fun. So I know that one's going up. In April is Battle Cry.
That's going to be up here at Gamers Heaven again.
Yep. And then in May, I believe, is Wicked GT, which is in Kansas,
Mm-hmm. Wichita.
Wichita. When is Hogfest? Because Hogfest is coming up soon, I think. Right?
It is, and I think that's another November one.
So Hogfest, which I actually would like to go to that at some point. Again, it's just location. It's in St. Louis, Missouri. But they actually roast a pig, which is awesome, and it's supposed to be just like a blast. Jeff Durham runs that.
Yeah, Jeff's an awesome guy. If you don't know who Jeff is, I mean, other than he always wears his Seattle Seahawks jersey every time I see him. But he is such an awesome guy. I can't say enough about him.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a good time, I've heard nothing but great things about that event. A lot of boozing. It'll be fun.
Yep.
Yeah. So then, we covered May, and then in June there's a tournament, but it's not coming to me. What's in June?
Brawlers.
Brawler Bash. Yes, which Shannon saved this year by running it. So thank you, Shannon. That was a lot of fun. I like that tournament.
Oh, you know who may be coming up to Mountain Mayhem?
Who?
Once Bitten.
Oh, yes. This is very exciting. Chad just put up a battle report, which is like the first one he's put up in ages.
Oh, did it? I haven't seen it.
It's an old 8th edition. Well, I should say it's a new video, but they played 8th edition because it was easier than reading through all the new rule sets.
Okay.
But yeah, he might be getting back into the game, and Gene said he was a maybe for Mount Mayhem. So if Chad, you're watching this, or this somehow gets out to you, we would all like you to come because it'd be good to see it. It'd be good to get you back in the game and posting videos and stuff. So you should just keep harassing him.
But do it in a nice, polite, professional manner. All right, so let's get this ball. Let's keep moving along though. But yeah, so we've got definitely have a lot of things going on, and everything that we've mentioned so far. So the Colonial Carnage, which is a team event, is not a participating GT, but it is a tournament. It helps promote 9th age play here in the United States, run by Todd Wyatt, and it's a blast. And everything else that we've mentioned so far, these are participating GTs that whoever wins, whoever your overall winner is, you will have an invitation to North America Brawlers. And there's there is a Canadian tournament going on as well. I just don't know when it is. I'm sorry, it's Canada.
Is Brawlers one also?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Again, Green Dragons. Without us, they wouldn't feel like winners. Without them, we couldn't look so good. And this is the new Green Dragon symbol because I got given a lot of slack about the old Green Dragon symbol. So this is a new one.
I like it.
Thank you. I won't lie. My wife found it. So this is going to be Warriors of the Dark Gods versus Vampire Covenant. And the players for this is Swelt versus Prettyboy. So I've tried to find the best online picture that I could.
That's a cool picture.
Yeah, I thought so. I have no idea where it's from, but it's cool looking. All right. So as I said, we're not going to go ahead and give. Why the heck do I have KOE up here? Is this the wrong freaking game?
Are you kidding me, Mark?
Yeah. Hold on. What the? Did you not take pictures?
I did take pictures. You're going to try to blame me.
Oh, this is it. That is the right game.
Yeah, there's the game.
All right.
You heard that. He tried to blame me.
Where the heck are the pictures, man?
Well, I forgot to take pictures of deployment. This is after his first turn movement.
Oh, I'm like...
That's the first picture.
So Swelt, his real name is Brett. He's working on his Warriors of Dark Gods. He actually got third best general at Dragon's Den. So technically, that's fourth place. but he did great, and he brought his trees, which is fully painted, everything else. And now he's putting together his warriors list, and let's see, he's got his chariots have envy, so that has the additional maximize rolls.
Yep.
As his cavalry, those are chosen knights. They're behind that kind of look like the white globs. Those are envy as well, aren't they?
They are envy with halberds, and the chariots are also chosen chariots.
Yes. Yep. So they're chosen chariots. And here's the thing: is that is also a BSB in that unit that's got some of the paint on it.
Yep.
And it hits pretty hard. It really does.
Got that entropic aura.
And he has the entropic aura. I'm not with his build. I just feel he's got too many of them.
He's got too many what?
Chosen Knights.
Chosen Knights are all the rage right now. And he actually has less Chosen Knights than most warrior lists I see out there.
But in one huge block?
I've seen a lot of lists with 2 units of 5.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. The big birds there, those are his
Chimeras.
I was going to say Manticores, but wrong army. Then he's got 2 units of warriors, and you kind of see the wheel there on the right. He's got another chariot there, and then you've got VC being played the part by orcs and goblins, dread elves, and of course vampires themselves.
We had a few proxies in this game, obviously.
Yeah. But you know what? This was a lot of fun, and there actually was a reason why I wanted us to do this. And unfortunately, then Ryan and I, of course, played a game after that, and we forgot to take pictures for the entire game. So it's like I looked out halfway. It's like, we're not taking pictures, are we? He goes, no. So this is after his movement, correct?
Yeah. So Brett dropped everything for first. He had a special item that made me drop one of my units before deployment started. So he made me drop the Vampire Knights.
Okay.
You can kind of see them in the center. I just put them dead center. And then he decided to drop everything to try to go first. And we were playing what scenario we were playing? Oh, we were playing Capture the Flags.
No, you weren't. You were playing because there's a token there in the middle of the board.
The token, that threw me off too. The token is to show where my wolves should be, but they kept falling off the hill.
I thought you guys were playing the Spoils of War.
No.
That's what you and I played.
Yeah, that's what we played. We played Capture Standards, and the warriors in the middle there are marked with sloth. So they're super tough.
Yeah, it's +1 resilience if you don't move 8 inches or something along those lines.
Yeah, they're in most cases they're resilience 5.
Yeah. And so he moved up, and he's chaffing you up.
Yep, with a very expensive Chimera.
With a very expensive Chimera. And what were your thoughts about him moving up the way that he did?
I mean, he has to be. I shouldn't say he has to be. Obviously, he's playing an aggressive army, but I don't think he needed to rush up the way that he did. We talked after the game. First off, he shouldn't have dropped everything to just try and take first turn. He should have tried to go somewhat drop for me, because
I think going second would have been in his better interest.
Yeah, possibly. But just because when he dropped everything for first, besides the knights, I was able to just deploy in reaction to him.
Yep.
And then he pushed forward, which I understand his inclination because it's an aggressive army, but I have no ranged ability. So there's no reason that he needed to push forward.
Not for Capture the Flags, no.
And also for Capture the Flags, yeah, there was no onus. So I think that was probably premature. And yeah, he's chaffing me up, but that's an expensive piece of chaff he's throwing in front, So I mean, I wasn't really concerned. And I also was resisting the bait to just start charging things in because his army can fight better than mine. I'm going to be patient and chaff and pick out the fights and multi-charges that I want.
Yeah. I absolutely I agree. And even his use of chaff, like just looking at this picture here alone. So your knights can charge the Chimera and then potentially overrun. So this right here, I would have probably moved that Chimera over because I wouldn't have cared if your knights had gotten into the warriors, believe it or not. Because
he probably wouldn't care as much if my knights made the overrun into the chosen knights either, because he'll win that fight eventually.
oh, I understand, but it's always better to keep your options open. But it's either you're going to turn around, take that charge, but also by angling it, it allows your Chimera to then charge out of the way if it's still alive.
Right.
So and then had you charged it, then you're facing the wrong way. So it's either you overrun, giving you a flank or a rear, or you're going to stop and turn. And he's in a position that he could potentially either charge you with the warriors or the chosen, as well as the Chimera, which you would not be able to chaff.
Right. Now, I mean, before we continue, we should just say this real quick, because I know we're critically analyzing this, and that's good because we can learn from it. Everybody,
oh yeah,
who might watch this can learn from it. Brett is a very good player. Brett went 5-0 at Dragon's Den, so just so you're aware.
Just to add to what you're saying, this is a new army. As you can tell, it's not painted. And he's using a highborn elf model there. This is a new army for him. This is total learning curve. And please know that you did just obviously give away that you won the game. But yeah, no, I want to know what your opinion was and different style tactics. Again, you saw like in our game, you turned to me during our game and like, well, I wouldn't have done this charge, and I explained to you why I did. He's like, oh, all right, I see your point now. Never mind. So it's neither here nor there. As a matter of fact, one thing, if you don't turn around and look at your game afterwards, I mean, I found myself becoming a better player by doing these battle reports and analyzing my own, like, damn, I should have done X, Y, Z. What are your thoughts there, Ryan?
Oh, it's definitely helpful. When I do my own battle reports for the channel, it forces me to look back on the pictures of the game and like actually think about it in more depth, and I have the evidence in front of me to show things that I did well, but things I could have done differently or could have done better. Yeah, so I mean, I definitely learn a lot.
Yeah. So that's some of the negatives we've talked about. Here's what I like what he did. I actually like, I mean, if they were positioned a little further to my left, being his chosen knights, and if his chariot was either angled more to the left or more to the right, just pick a side, I probably would have chosen more to the left. I think the way he did push up was actually really, really good. I liked what he did is he was going to turn around and jam things down your throat. And as you said, if your infantry is not going to go toe to toe. As a matter of fact, if you have something that's going to be a little bit bulkier in nature, a little bit harder hitting, but you also throw your infantry into that, it is now a liability for you by putting your infantry in there.
Oh yeah, I mean, basically, and that was the advantage for me is that he doesn't really have any dedicated chaff, and I have at least 4 units of dedicated chaff. But the downside to me is that due to the scenario and just due to the strength difference, my infantry are basically going to do nothing.
Yep.
Unless I want to use them to tar pit something.
Agreed. All right, so let's go to the next pick. All right, so again, here is the lovely group of goblins, and yes, I know they're ghouls, but they still look like goblins because they're green.
With green too.
Then you've got the Wyvern, followed by the Vampire Knights, and then you've got the Dread Elf on a Pegasus, which is supposed to be on a Revenant.
Yep, I have 3 vampires on revenants, monstrous revenants.
And then you got a Bat Swarm. You've got 2. Well, let's. There's your Bat Swarm. The werewolves today. Those are your giant bats, aren't they?
Yeah, so I on the hill are the wolves, obviously, and then behind them I have the dark coach, and to the left I have 2 units of great bats.
Yeah.
And then just a giant obnoxious unit of zombies, bat swarms, and then 4 vampire spawn, and then my other vampire and a monstrous revenant.
Now, for those of you looking to tool out your army list to his army list, here's the thing: is this is still during playtesting. So this is one of the many, many. I'm going to throw in one more many lists that Ryan was trying to decide upon, and then tweak from there. So if you're going to try knitting it out to go against them, ain't going to work. That's all I'm going to say. It just won't work. And so I understand going back as to why he kept his chariot facing that one direction, kind of to keep you honest, but I just don't think that chariot, even though it's a chosen chariot, has the power to deal with the character or even with the flying vampires, whatever those things are.
The spawn?
Yeah.
Those chariots have more attacks than you expect, but you're right. I mean, it alone is not going to be enough, and I have too much chaff to really care about it. And also, it's only move 7.
Yep. Versus speed 9 and speed 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny how the dead things move faster than the things that are alive. Just pointing that out. In fact, that dead shambling zombies move faster than dwarves. What's wrong with this picture?
March faster.
Yes, they do. Yes,
they're sprinters.
All right. So you did turn around, and it wasn't taking the bait, but you did go ahead. You charged in. You moved your spawn over. Did you got that charge off? I think that was a mistake on his part by letting you be too close.
He moved his chariot too close, and it was an average charge range, and it didn't hurt me if I failed, so I took it and I made it. It was a 9, I think.
Exactly.
On Swiss Stride. So yeah, my general goes flying into that chosen chariot up at the top. I charged the Vampire Knights in because you can't really see it, but I actually moved one of my Great Bat units up to chaff the chosen Knights.
Yep.
They can't countercharge. The wolves are chaffing up the warriors. Otherwise, I didn't move too much. I just moved the spawn over to the other side, and I pushed up with the ghouls and my BSB vampire. The infantry and the other chaff and the coach are just going to sit there because they're really not going to do much this game. I don't want the infantry to get in anywhere because, as Mark said, they're just liability. And then the other vampire, you can't really see it, but he moved up out of line of sight of the chariot up at the top right. Yeah, there he is. So he's facing the flank.
Yep.
And I mean, I have no shooting. My magic phases are very simple. I basically raised more zombies to make the unit bigger. That was pretty much it. And I killed the bird.
Well, you killed the bird, you killed the chariot, and went off the board?
Yes. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I killed the chariot, yeah. And then, well, I didn't kill the chariot. I beat it. I think I had 1 wound left, and it broke. And I decided to chase it and got off the board.
Yep. And then comes his turn. So that is his other bird that is now being utilized for chaff. He just took all the bait. He took all the bait in the world in this pick. And you kind of, one thing I learned, and believe it or not, I learned this the hard way from playing KOE. for so long. And I also really saw it work extremely well one time when I played Chai Hammer. Was if they're going to chaff you up, make sure you can beat the guy on the other side, pass the chaff. If not, use his chaff against him by preventing him from charging you. The issue is both of these lists, both these armies, I think you may have had some range spells.
He had like one, maybe two, yeah.
Yeah, but the problem with VC, where going against, say, a KOE or an Empire or a Dread Elves, is you're not going to get those models back. The issue with going with against a VC list is like, oh, you did 4 wounds. Oh, look, I just got back 4 wounds plus 6. So it's because this was a capture the flag scenario. Probably maybe a little bit of patience, or getting into like looking at this now, maybe have getting into your brick of infantry of your brick of ghouls there actually would have been a good thing, because now you're going to chew through them and allow that liability to then be a liability, because believe it or not, the chosen should be able to polish through that brick in about 2-3 rounds of combat.
Yep. Yeah, he could have gone for it, which I would have been fine with too. And to your point, like with all the chaff stuff, that's one of the strengths of the army too. With all the flyers, is it's very difficult to chaff me.
Yep. It is very difficult to chaff you. The issue is you require your characters to do your heavy lifting, and as we saw in our games on both sides, I think there was one phase I rolled 5 ones for my Duke. Do you remember the one I'm talking about?
No.
Close combat against your coach, and I hit with everything, and then I rolled 4 ones and a 2.
Yeah, you had one phase where you basically did no wounds, and you had another phase where you were like you had the 6s with lethal strike, renown, and you rolled 3.
Yep. And that's why it's a dice game. Just flat out down to it. You can say, "Oh man, I didn't get what I should have rolled." Like, here's the law of averages. 50% is going to be above that number. 50% will be below that number. Very rare to be on that number. But to this case in point, he took, so the character, as I'm sitting there and I'm painting models there, you can see my paintbrushes. He took his BSB out of the unit, and I still think that charging them into the ghouls may have been a better choice.
He wanted to pin in my general, which I can understand, because that's a lot of points if he can get it.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm just going to go back a couple quick picks. If he had gone into your ghouls, looking at that picture, your vampire spawn don't have line of sight. And going back there, neither would your knight. So then he would only be able to get in with the BSB.
I wouldn't charge that unit if he makes the ghouls. He's going to kill too many ghouls.
Exactly.
Right.
And he chews through your ghouls, and then he'll be able to either go down your lines to help protect what he's there. He did charge your chaff. I would have left your chaff. I would.
If he, wait a second.
Right here, he charged your chaff.
He couldn't charge me because the chaff was in the way. That's why he couldn't do it.
Which unit of chaff?
The bats. So you can't see it, but in that picture, the bats are chaffing him. That's why he couldn't do it.
Yeah, I thought, but I didn't think the bats were chaffing him from wheeling.
Yeah, they were. It's hard. I know it's hard to see in this picture, but yeah, he couldn't make the wheel.
Okay.
He's too wide. But even if he does make it into the ghouls, even if he could, the rest of his army is going to be gone by the time he's done killing them.
Well, again, I wouldn't have charged the dogs. I would have left the dogs. I would have pop myself with because that unit has musician. Brett likes to bring the full commands, which a lot of people do, or at least musician. I think musician is actually better sometimes than standard or champ. Depends on the army and what you're trying to do. But I would have just pivoted, been 1 inch away from your chaff unit, and said, "Go ahead, charge." I'm so close, you can't get anything else in there to complete the charge.
Yeah. He's got to clear the chaff at some point.
Oh, at some point, but until then, wait till you're in a better position.
Yeah.
So, and that's to me what we would have to do. So, like here, yeah, kill the bats, chaff up your vampire knights, leave the dogs because they're not fast, they're not light troops, and then and go from there. So let's see. Over here, he moved the one chariot back. And that's that. You got Whispers of the Veil.
Yep.
And that's -2 offensive defense.
Yep. And -1 leadership, but
who cares? You're dead.
Yeah.
During your turn.
Yep. So this was the turn of the many.
What did you need there? That looks like about.
You need a 10.
I was going to say it looks like a long charge with the character.
I need a 10.
Yeah. So going from there, it looks like he just mispositioned his chariot just in case you failed the charge. You could have charged him with the chariot into the character.
I think like basically I was out of his line of sight if I failed unless I rolled a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so this was the turn of, like I said, many charges.
Yep, over here.
So yeah, the BSB goes into the smaller unit of warriors, which actually has his caster in it. The knights go into the bird. The spawn go into the flank of the bird. And as we said, the guy up top makes the long bomb charge into the flank of the warriors, which is perfect because now the knights and the spawn are going to crisscross. The knights are going to overrun into the sloth warriors, and the vampire spawn will overrun into the warriors where the BSB is, and I'll get to fight those combats the same turn.
Absolutely. Yeah. And here's the thing: if one of them failed, the way the rules are is you ignore the units that are in the same combat, so you would just travel through the spawn into that combat if the spawn fail, and vice versa for the or you just move the spawn first and then move the knights. So,
and the general up top flew back on just to face his BSB, and yeah, and then the rest of the army starts moving around. I moved the zombies up on the hill just in case they're needed for like a flank charge or something like that. And same with the coach.
Yeah, and then basically his one chariot is just too far out.
Yeah. And yeah, the crisscross happens. The vampire knights fail to make it into the warriors, though. They failed to make the overrun. This is skipping a couple of pictures. The spawn make it in with the BSB and break the small unit, and then run them down. Or they kill everybody. They overrun past. And then on his turn, his chariot makes the charge because the warriors held since the knights failed to get in. His chariot makes the charge and just runs over the vampire that was in their flank.
Yep.
And his BSB runs into my general. And I think we do like a wound to each other.
And so this time, I don't think he had anything chaffing against the ghouls, did he?
Nope.
So again, I would have put those guys into the ghouls.
He might have failed charge.
Maybe. I don't know. As I said, I was painting models.
I think at this point, honestly, he called the game because, yeah, he knew that it was over. We ended up fighting it out. He does kill my general. So he does get some points back there, but then on my turn, yeah, his chariot's going to be taken out. His warriors are going to be taken out. And then the ghouls would just move away, and then the rest of the army just surrounds the chosen knights and kills them.
Yeah, that's why I would have on his turn again. If he didn't fail the charge, I just would have charged into the ghouls so I can start chewing up the ghouls. And this way, if you did want to throw something else into them, it had the potential to backfire on you.
Yeah. Yep.
And, yeah, I mean, and that's it. I mean, it was a fairly fast game, and the thing for me is when I look at these two lists, I don't see balanced lists on either side, but I see one that, as I said earlier, it's a learning curve, and he's trying to figure out what works. And I think that's one of the draws and the negatives to Warriors. And I said this during my last Square Table talk, is it has so many different things, so many different tools, and you want to take everything. And it's just finding
afford.
What'd you say, bud?
I said, and you can afford nothing because everything's so expensive.
Well, no, it's not that you can afford nothing. It's that you here, I think less is more. Like you don't need to have two chosen chariots, a brick of chosen knights, a brick of marked warriors. I think just two chariots, maybe the chosen knights and the marked warriors would have sufficed and kept other things basic. Get your points that way and bulk some other things up.
He also needs chaff.
I agree. I'd rather than the chariots. I probably would put flares in.
And I mean, maybe I'm wrong in saying this, but I've not seen them played very often, and I can understand why. I'm not a big fan of the chimeras. They're a monster, but they only have 4 health points.
But they fly. What are the rules on those things? There's some nice things.
No, I mean the fly thing is the only good thing about them. They're only resilience 5. They're only strength 5, so they're really, really fragile. And they're not that strong to make up for it. And they don't have like a breath weapon or anything, so.
I'm looking.
Mad at me.
No, it's what you're saying is they fly 8 or 16, and it's 55 points to give them wings. Their agility 4, they've got their armor 3. So does that mean they have a 4 up or they have a 3 up?
Means they have a 4 up.
They have 4 up armor, 4 hit points, 5 attacks, fear, towering presence, so that means that they're tall as well, and they're large. For 265, they're not bad. But the way he has them kitted out, that's 320?
320. They're worth more than a Kraken is. And Krakens are way better.
For 320 points, I probably would find an additional. And that's just for one of them. Yeah. I would somehow try to find the additional 45 points and take 3 Feldrakes.
Yep.
Because they're 4 health points each. They're 3 attacks versus 5 attacks. They're defensive 4 rather than defensive 3, and they're offensive 4, which is the same. They're both strength and resilience 5. It's AP 2, but armor 2. So all they have is light armor, so that's a 5-up armor save. So that's fine. Yeah, lower agility, but there's 3 in the unit, so that's a unit of 12 wounds versus a 4-wound critter. And both are advanced and 16. Although the Chimera does march 20.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're fast, but that's the only thing you're getting out of them.
Yeah. And you can give the Feldrakes either a halberd for 12 points. Yeah, I'd still go with the Feldrakes.
Yep, agreed.
And I want to say the whole purpose of the Camaros is to be used that way, but more of a monster mash list.
Yeah, even so, I think they need some tweaks. They're just way too fragile.
Agreed. I
Yeah.
mean, I like basic warrior knights. Forget about the chosen knights, just basic warrior knights.
Yeah, they're good. They're very good.
That they absolutely are. Um, and I mean, they're 2 attacks each. Yeah, and granted that's still special. Core wise, I like Fallen. There's your chaff right there for 160 points. I mean, I play Equitane and Dwarven Holes and a couple other armies. Let's see, my cheapest chaff is 130 points. And I can tell you now that except for Vengeance Seekers, which we all know how much you love Vengeance Seekers, yeah, that's that 160 points right there. That 160 points will beat up my chaff any day of the week and twice on Sunday. So
Yeah, I like the Fallen as chaff.
yeah.
But anyway, that was the game.
Yep. So please let us know any questions, comments, or concerns. Go ahead and post. And until next time, happy gaming. Now, let's get out of that.